So without further ado, I'd like to bring the two speakers up to the stage. But before I do that, I'd like to give a little bit of an introduction. So Naoko Yamazaki, she's a former astronaut, the second Japanese female astronaut. And she earned a Master of Aerospace Engineering from the University of Tokyo in 1996 and joined National Aerospace Development Agency, or NASDA, which is now JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. She flew aboard Space Shuttle Discovery in April 2010 for an assembly and resupply mission to the International Space Station. She stayed there for 15 days, and she retired after that from JAXA in August 2011 and served on Japan's National Space Policy Committee and is currently a member of its subcommittees on basic policies. In 2018, she co-founded Spaceport Japan Association and serves as its representative director. I didn't know about Spaceport Japan, what it is, and she's going to talk about it later. She also has been devoting herself to educate the next generation as the president of Young Astronaut Club Japan since 2021. Now, Ms. Akiko Tito, she's a pilot and future space traveler. She was born and raised in Tokyo, Japan. She started her career in the financial industry, but transitioned from a Wall Street financial professional to an accomplished aviator and a future space traveler. She earned multiple pilot certifications, including a private pilot's license, single pilot jet rating, and jet-rated commercial pilot certification. And she's now on her way to getting an airline transport pilot, ATP rating, which is kind of completed and coming up very soon, as I heard. She shares her aviation journey on her YouTube channel, Excitation, and now it's turned into Captain Akiko. So check it out and please subscribe. She's married to, of course, as Consul General mentioned, to Mr. Dennis Tito, with whom she shares a passion for space. She's set to become the first woman to travel to the moon on SpaceX Starship in a few years' time. So that's really exciting, isn't it? So please join me welcome the two distinguished speakers of today. So thank you so much again for joining us. And by the way, Naoko arrived here yesterday and flying back tonight. So it's just a really whirlwind trip and really appreciate it. And come to think of it, it's rather interesting that how did you get to meet? I mean, we met in the...
Yes, we talk about this today. Like we met actually here in LA. 11? Oh, no,
2011, I guess.
2011. So it was this type of event, three of us. So that's really coincident.
Together with Dennis son as well. Yeah, so we met all together.
That's right.
In a conference, you spoke at a conference center in Orange County.
Orange County.
And I happened to help a little bit, and you were the speakers. And little did we know at that time that we reconvene again.
Yes.
Almost like 14
years
after that. So it's meant to be. So thank you.
Yeah.
So let's get started. I want to start with your childhood and how you were brought up and how you became aspired to become your professionals in the respective fields. So what kind of girl were you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Naoko Yamazaki, and it's my great pleasure to be here today to celebrate International Women's Day together with Akiko-san, Yuko-san, and everybody in this room. And thank you for Yuko-san Japan House and the Consul General and Nitto Tire-san to make this happen, and I'm so honored. So when I was a small child, as Mizutani-san mentioned, I was inspired by sci-fi movies like Star Wars and Japanese anime, spaceship, battleship Yamato, or Galaxy Express 39 and so on. And also, I like to watch the stars and the stargazing, and I went to planetarium a lot and learned about our body. We are made of star stuffs originally. All the earth, the sun, and our bodies are made from the star stuffs. So we are siblings in the universe. Those kind of facts, influenced me a lot to deeply interested in space. So I dreamed of space, travel at that time, but there were no Japanese astronauts when I was a small child. So I didn't think of becoming an astronaut, honestly. But I wanted to be a part of space program. So I learned aerospace engineering in my college day, and this is my graduation work of designing space hotel. I thought it was a faraway dream, but now it's becoming reality. Thanks to all the efforts of everybody in the world, like Dennis and Akiko is opening up a space civilization. So I'm so glad to see in generation it's becoming true.
You might be able to use those plans when it becomes reality. I mean,
Yes, my hope.
And you plan already when you are in college. That's
Yes.
great.
that's great. And you you came to the United States as an exchange student.
Yes. In my graduation master's degrees program, I went to the University of Maryland for 1 year as an exchange student. And at that time, actually, my parents were against it because they didn't have any experience to study abroad, so they didn't know how it was like. But thanks to the support from Zonta International and Rotary Club, which supports the Women in STEM program, so I really appreciate those kind of programs.
That's great. So let's turn to Akiko-san. She's so cute. You must have been like 3.
This is my Shigo-san picture. So I was 7.
7. Very cute, and you were into playing the piano as well.
Yes. So playing the piano when I was younger was like everything to me. Like I was so into it. And I just enjoy every minute of it. So I did like a recital every year. So that's what I
Wow.
remember.
Which had nothing to do with space as yet, right? But can you talk a little bit about this calligraphy?
Yes. So this one is a calligraphy. I was actually into calligraphy as well. I was 12, and I was always thinking about like a trip to the space. So it's called Uchu no Tabi, means trip to the
Journey,
space.
right?
So I just found out like a recently, I kind of remember, but I didn't remember exactly what I did. But like, wow, I was thinking about it. Like I was
Already.
fascinated about what I did.
So it was your dream job, and
Yes.
and then you're
Yes,
materializing
like
it.
a daydream or something.
So Naoko-san, you joined JAXA right after you received your master's degree in 1996 to be an astronaut, the second Japanese female astronaut.
Yeah, first as an engineer, I then became an astronaut candidate.
Right, and it took you like close to 14 years until you finally went up there. Can you talk a little bit about the process?
Yes, the process takes a long time. During the training era, it was, I enjoyed every moment to travel to different countries, United States, European countries, Canada and Russia, including Japan, and I met so many people. So not only, we learn about spaceships and all the technologies and experiment and science, but also we learned our culture and we learned our, goals as a nation and our humanities. So our goals are the same, to expand our frontier to the universe, and learning about space actually leads us to learn better about our home planet. So to make a better world, we are aiming to the expanding our frontier. So it was a great moment to, work together as an international team.
So, talking about your basic training and advanced training, both in Japan and in the United States with NASA, there must have been ups and downs, and it must have been hard times sometimes. What was the hardest challenge during your training period?
Well, the hardest challenge to overcome the accident in the fourth year of my training, there was a space shuttle Columbia accident. So it was a disaster, and to overcome, everybody has to work so hard. And
And there was a physical training as well. Did you
yes,
go
physical.
into the woods and?
Mhm. Oh yes, we did survival training, and we had a team building training in outside in nature in the Rocky Mountains as well, about for 10 days.
Right, and then you finally made it to space.
Yes. It was on the space station, space shuttle, when space shuttle approached to the International Space Station. So we had 13 members altogether, 6 long duration crew members, and I was a space shuttle member. And actually at that time, we made a record of 4 women, most women in space at the same time.
That was the record.
Yes, but the records are made to get broken. So I hope you will break that record in the future.
Fantastic. So I want to ask you about your life at ISS.
Yes, in the ISS, we work together. We usually wake up at 6 a.m. and go to sleeping bag at 10 p.m. And we enjoy microgravity. We eat space food. This is the dinner. And this time we enjoy the Japanese space food and sushi, rolling sushi. And we brought seaweed, and white rice is one part of the space food. And there was no sashimi, raw fish, but we enjoyed, putting fried egg or, some, baked meat and so on. And actually, we enjoy wasabi very much because wasabi clears your nose. In space, due to the microgravity, fluid shift, we have lots of water around my faces. So it's kind of running nose you have in space. So the clears nose wasabi, it's our favorite.
Akiko-san, you're
That's
to
good
go
to hear. Naoko-san.
Don't forget to bring
I will
wasabi.
bring a lot of wasabi.
Yeah, you can even eat sushi and all kinds of things. What was your favorite food?
Oh, well, I loved, ramen, space ramen. Also curry rice. It's kind of spicy.
Akiko-san, any question regarding food?
Yeah, so I just happened to went to the Japanese museum, space museum, when I was in Japan the other time. And I got like takoyaki. So do you think it's a good idea, takoyaki, to bring with me?
I think that's a great idea. We can, make it freeze dried, and in space we can add a hot water, and you can enjoy your hot takoyaki in space.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that
thank you for the advice.
there are so many different foods available now and freeze dried.
More than 300 menu.
Right, so you don't have to worry too much about
I
food.
think miso soup is like really popular,
Yes.
right?
So American or international astronauts like Japanese food, as you were telling me.
Usually exchange our space food together so that we can enjoy.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure that Akiko-san is much interested in knowing that, is how do you there's no bath. You can't take a shower. How do you, was it an issue with you, or how do you do that?
Well, it's just a sponge bath, put in a wet towel and just wipe our body. And for the hair, we use a dried shampoo, which doesn't require any water, and wipe with towel, and that's it.
So that wasn't an issue with you. So sleeping also. I mean, many astronauts use sleeping bags.
Sleeping
Which are
bag.
tied to the wall, or so that you
Yes,
won't
we just
float?
fixed to the wall so that it won't fly away.
Right.
But inside the sleeping bag, still we have room. So I felt like I was floating inside the sleeping bag. But I really enjoyed it. But some people wants to put blanket on you. So we had a wide band so that it will fit your body. So it depends your preference.
And this is
Yeah, microgravity water. And I also brought cherry blossoms, salted cherry blossoms. I put in the water bubble and enjoyed cherry, green tea.
Naoko-san, your face is upside down in the water.
Right. It's reflected on the water.
interesting.
You've enjoyed.
Akiko-san, any other further questions about her life in space? I mean, you probably want to set aside some time later to ask her a whole bunch of questions.
Well, I just wanted to know what was the most difficult training.
Difficult
yeah,
one.
that's really I'm interested in, like a physically, like.
Well, physically demanding training was like a survival training. We did survival training in winter in the snow for 3 days. We can utilize only the items inside the spaceship. Or we did survival training on the water just in case when it splashed down accidentally. And also we did a team building training in a Rocky Mountain. So every day we changed the leader. So everybody has a role of leader at once, at least during the training.
That's what I heard when I talked to astronaut Noguchi. He mentioned to me like they have individual role as a team, and he mentioned to me like that's very important to act as a role as a team.
Yes, because everybody has to have an ability to become a leader and a follower at the same time. So that is why we exchange roles during the training.
When I went to the meeting last week, the SpaceX, so they show us the video, what they did as a training. And there was like a scuba diving and skydiving. And you have to land it by yourself at the end. And of course, survival training. So I can see that that depends on, Russians or SpaceX or NASA. They have different training.
Interesting. Well,
Depending on the mission.
Yeah, let's move to your section. So we're going to show you Akiko's first flight, right?
First solo flight.
Solo flight.
This is even before I got the license.
Were you not scared? Were you excited
Well,
or scared?
I was really ready for this. Like nobody believed in me. Like I was able to fly by myself. So I said, just let me fly by myself.
So here it comes. And your instructor filmed it.
Yeah, my instructor filmed this video. Yeah, that was a little 172 Cessna.
You bought it.
Yes.
Here it is. So that was back in
Yeah, that was my first airplane.
2018.
2018, yes. Yeah, I started flying 2018. So I was over 50 years old. So that was a big challenge to me.
Many licensors, I mean, those people who get to fly are younger, usually.
Oh, much younger. Much younger. And of course, no women. Every time when I go to flight school, there's no women. So it's
still very low.
yes, very low percentage woman pilot. I could see that.
And this is a celebration of your first flight?
Yes, this is the right after my solo flight. So there is a custom where all the pilots, when you did the first solo flight, you rip off your T-shirt. So that's like the very traditional way to celebrate.
I did not know that. So this one is your YouTube.
Yes, this is my YouTube channel. It's called Excitation Mike, but I changed to my title, the channel, Captain Akiko now. So you can follow me
International Women's
on a
Day,
YouTube
so I just want to
channel.
talk about it a little bit. As a woman, I became a pilot 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, over 50 years old, and then women can do something like this. And I think really honestly, we can be a better pilot than guys. That's what I believe. That's why I'm flying every single day just by myself. And I just want to inspire a young woman to become a pilot. You can be a really good pilot and join me for this journey.
So this one was filmed maybe a couple years ago. On
I
the
think a couple years ago, yes.
Right. So you said that women can be better pilots than guys.
Yes.
Can you explain why you said
Yes.
that?
So I think I'm not, not saying that the guy is less better pilot or anything like that, but I think the women tend to follow the rules more, I think. And guys like looking at the woman looking at the manual and instruction, they follow the rules, exactly what they have to do. But I think the guys kind of skip the instruction, just try it. That's like my opinion.
So women tend to be more multitasker.
Yes,
So whereas men focus on
very
certain things.
detailed.
It's the same with
You
the
think
space
so?
operation. Yeah, we, do lots of multitasks.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
involves experiments in
Yes,
parallel. Like
you
in
have to watch
aviation.
everywhere.
Yeah, the same.
Yes.
Sorry, man. No intention to disgrace you, but Barbara. They have strengths and weaknesses, each gender, and so that's why having the multi-gender and international group of people on the Starship or ISS is important, I feel. Okay, so current activities. Let's start with Naoko. As I said, Spaceport Japan, you co-founded and can explain.
Yes, as Yuko-san introduced, I'm a representative director of Spaceport Japan Association right now. It's a non-profit platform to connect all the spaceports in Japan, because Japan is a good location. It's an Asian hub. And we have multiple spaceports already. In JAXA has a government spaceport in Kagoshima, southern island, southern part of Japan. And also the commercial and local government spaceports are located in Hokkaido and Wakayama. And Oita is actually a horizontal spaceport utilizing an existing runway for space planes. And Okinawa is the same. It will be in an airport and a spaceport. So those kind of activities I support right now. And some of the projects are collaboration between the US and Japan. And the Akiko-san and Dennis will fly on a Starship of a SpaceX, a new vehicle. And this Starship will be utilized as a transportation, point-to-point transportation. So for example, the connecting Los Angeles and Tokyo in less than 1 hour. So in that case, those spaceport projects are very international. So really, I'm looking forward to this.
So it's not just launch pad. It's more like
Yes,
port.
more like port.
Port, and it would be ready in time for more people going on to space as space travelers.
Yes, exactly. You, of course, enjoy the space, but also in the meantime, as travel to other countries, you will enjoy space.
I hope that the cost will be much lower than now.
Yes, I hope
Not
so
many
too.
of us can afford to go to space,
Right.
but it will probably be in that kind of phase in maybe a decade, 2 decades from now.
Because
and
the airplanes, airplane tickets are very expensive at the beginning in the 60s, but now it's,
That's
get
true.
popular, so the same.
And it's also in sync with the government policy, right? The Japanese government wants to promote space
Yes.
exploration and business as well in
Mhm.
collaboration with the United
Exactly. Yeah,
States.
I'm supporting space policy as well, but yeah, that's exactly
Interesting.
very encouraging.
Good to know. So, Akiko-san, after you go up on spacecraft, you can leave from Japan.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Isn't that fascinating? Okay, so yes, now you are posing a photo with a very interesting person who is a little bit controversial nowadays. But
Right. Yes. So this picture was taken, I think 2011. So this is the occasion where we have a mutual friend, and they were married in Paris. So Dennis and I were invited to this wedding.
and that was before you got married with Dennis.
Way before.
Mhm.
So so this was like before the wedding day. There was a rehearsal dinner. They had a rehearsal dinner on a boat in Paris, and that's this picture was taken. And I remember we talk about space, of course, and Tesla. And he is a very kind of, my impression to him at the beginning, he was a very quiet person,
Quiet.
but when he talks about, space or cars and electric cars, oh, he just cannot stop talking about it. So that's how he is. And then I happened to meet his mother, May Musk, a couple years ago. And I was talking to her about him like 2 hours straight. And she mentioned to me that he was a really geek, like kid, quiet, doesn't talk too much, reading book all the time. So she was so worried about him because he didn't play with the other kids. And I think, one time he was bullied by other kids and stuff. But she said to me, really believed that he was a very special child since he was so much younger, which, I mean, as you know, he's great in it all the way. And so she says she's so proud of him. And she also said to me, don't start with a bunch of stuff at the same time. That's what she tells him all the time. But she said he never listened to her.
Now, when you sent us this photo, we were wondering if we should include it because of what has been transpiring now. But I thought that it would be good to know his other aspect when you met him years ago.
Yes.
So thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
and we respect him so much.
I see.
That's why we went with SpaceX.
I see. And you got married with Dennis. This is on the wedding day, or
This is our actual wedding day, and took a picture with our jet, and we flew to Mexico after this.
2020.
2020.
Right. Congratulations. I mean, and you're going to
Thank you.
You're going around the moon as part of your
That'll be our real honeymoon. You're right, Dennis?
honeymoon, literally. So how many? So you acquired this airplane as well.
Yes.
It's a Mustang.
Oh, Citation Mustang. Yes.
How many seats do?
On
Does it
this
have?
one, we have 4 seats on the back, and pilot and co-pilot. So 6 people total.
I see.
Yeah.
That's great. You must have, and you changed your clothes, right?
Yes.
And of course, you have to be skilled. You have to know how to run, how to do piloting and stuff like that. But it's not just about your technique skills, but also you have to build yourself well. And you're like Pilates instructor as well.
Yes. Yes.
So this is part of how well you've done. It's Can you talk a little bit about this contest?
Yes, so this is called the WBFF, World Beauty Fashion and Fitness Contest. So I did this, I think 2 years ago, and that was here in LA. And I got the third place over 35 years old woman range. So I had to compete with 35 years old woman. I'm close to 60 now.
That's amazing.
So that was tough. But these contests really motivates me to work out on a regular basis to keep myself, well, very much.
You're so skinny, you're so thin, but then it's all muscles.
Muscles, yeah.
It's amazing.
So no body fat.
No body fat. That many of us feel envious of you. So let's start talk about your future.
Yes,
Artemis.
as Mr. Sone, Consul General, mentioned in his speech, Artemis program is led by NASA, and Japan is a strong partner in this program. I'm proud of it. And so another station will be built around the cislunar orbit. And so Japan succeeded in the unmanned moon landing last year. And it was photographed actually by a small rover which was created by Takara Tomy, a toy company. So it is a very good symbol of now various companies are involved in space exploration, including the toy companies. And another commercial company, iSpace, which moon lander is on the way to the moon. So it will land early June. So I'm looking forward to it. And Toyota is also developing a lunar cruiser together with JAXA. And some other companies are involved. So this is a future concept of artificial gravity on the moon or on Mars, because if we live longer in longer generations, probably artificial gravity will help to survive. So this is one concept.
Thank you. So it's exciting that there are so many, not just governments like U.S. government,
Yes.
Japanese government,
It's a
many
collaboration
private.
among government and industries.
So, of course, there's this space collaboration between the two countries, Japan and the United States. What is the strength of Japanese space industry?
Yes. JAXA made a success of a sample return from an asteroid for the first time in the world, but about 10 years ago. So Japan has a strength and advantage of deep exploration and land and a pinpoint, and then get some samples and return to the Earth. So we are aiming to the same sample return from moon of Mars, Phobos, in a couple of years. So that will contribute to the Artemis program, because Artemis program is an exploration of the moon and Mars eventually.
Right, and yes, to Mars. It's
Yes,
kind of
to
exciting.
Mars.
So Gateway project is also
Exactly.
under construction. I mean, under
Yes.
planning.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. So let's turn to Akiko-san's project, and here it is. Is her husband, Dennis, went to space station, International Space Station, and spent about 8 days.
Yes, 8 days, yes.
Mhm.
So that was 2001 in April.
Do you want to ask your husband to?
Yes, so Dennis, can you tell us about your experience?
It's a very fortunate experience to be able to visit the station. Had to train for 8 months, and most of that training was in Russia, so it was not easy logistically to do that. But it was really well worth it, because it has to be one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. And the only bad thing about it was after 8 days, they said we have to go home. And I would have stayed for a month if I could have. It was really a great experience, and really happy to share this with you.
And you want to go back there with your wife?
Well, not to the station. We want to fly a free flight on a capsule to go do a figure eight around the moon and back to Earth. So that might happen in 4 or 5 years. I mean, I hope the Starship, will go through its tests by then. So far it's been difficult.
Thank you. And it was really amazing that everyone in the world was watching you because you were the really first space traveler when you went there in 2001. It's 20-some years ago.
Right.
It's amazing.
Being a tourist.
Being a tourist.
Actually, Dennis is so
Not the
professional.
first traveler.
Yes, and he is a pioneer to open up, civilized space program. And it was not easy, I guess. It was very challenging to open up the way.
Well, NASA was very much against the idea
At the
of me
beginning.
flying with the Russians. And there's a lot of politics involved, obviously.
Yeah, but Dennis opened up the way, and so thanks to his great efforts and contributions, now, we can go. So
Right, that's right.
You say you couldn't go to even U.S. area in the ISS.
Yeah, I could only stay in the Russian segment, and to go to the American segment, I had to be escorted. And somebody told me that they were very serious about that, and if I happened to, sneak into the American segment, they were ready to arrest me when I returned. So, but I played by the rules anyway, so I avoided incarceration.
Of course. Thank you so very much.
Thank
You're
you.
such a pioneer and trailblazer. Thank you. And here you were. Is that in Texas where?
Yes, this is a star base in Texas. This is when we announced to the public that we signed a contract with the SpaceX and going to the moon with the Starship.
So what made you to decide? Is that like instantaneous decision? Like, wow, yes, of course, we should go there.
Well, this is a funny story that Dennis and I went to the SpaceX tour without even talking about anything. And we finished the tour in a SpaceX, and we were just sat down in a meeting room with maybe 20 people, and we start talking about this, and all of a sudden, well, we can go to the moon with the Starship. And we kind of talk without talking about, Dennis and I agree, yes, we want to go to the moon. Like that, that's what happened.
So it was almost like, yes, it's the immediate decision that you made.
Yes. And then after that, of course, we talk
course.
about there are some, complications. So there would be another way to do it or stuff like that. But basically, that's what we decide in the meeting.
And spacecraft is still under construction, and they've been running test flights. And unfortunately, recently they had another
Yes, a couple of days ago.
right test flight
Exploded.
exploded, and so it would probably take some time until they complete the construction, the building of the spacecraft, and you're ready to wait for. as long as it-
We all know it's going to take a long time to develop and to be safe to send a human being to the moon. And as you know, Naoko-san, it takes so much time. You have to be really patient in this industry. So we are waiting.
So there are like 10 seats or 12 seats, but then
Yeah. 10 seats.
10 seats.
But so far, nobody signed yet but us.
So you could be the only couple.
Well, it could be.
You are brave.
If you could take some of us, we'd be happy to.
Yes.
So, and you have to go through the training. I mean, your husband.
Yes,
Mr.
we have
Tito
to go
said 8
training.
months of training in the past.
I think
but-
less than 8 months.
Mhm.
They're talking about maybe 6 months.
What kind of training would that be? Is that like?
Well, like I said, SpaceX required a lot of physical
Mhm.
training,
Mhm.
like scuba diving and skydiving and hiking in a tall mountain, like survival game type of training, and of course, grad school, and you have to be ready for the emergency situation, and a simulator
Mhm.
training. That's what I hear.
Wow, that would be a lot of it, and you have
Lots
to be able to a lot of physical
Yes.
training as well. So you just do kind of you have your gym at home, so
Yes.
you have to train yourselves daily.
Yeah, we're training. Dennis has personal trainer, and I have trainer, and we
Mm.
are working out most every single day.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for going through your personal history and journey up to this point. But because this is International Women's Day, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Being a woman in a top professional in your respective areas. So both of your areas, I mean, space, astronauts and the pilots, for example, have been traditionally dominated by man. And both of you told me how rare it is. Like Akiko-san said that you haven't really run into any women when you went to training school. Only 2% or so are women out of all pilots, professional pilots in Japan. And there are 13 astronauts in Japan. 6 of them have retired, including yourself. But out of 13, there have been only 2 women. So it's been hard, but and you partially told Sakiko-san already what are the strengths, advantage of being a woman. But Naoko-san also, can you share if you think that there is distinctively strong characteristic of being a woman?
Well, in the world, we have, 700 people have flown to space so far, and about 10% have been women. But recently, JAXA, NASA, and the European Space Agency selected new astronauts, and they are about 50 and 50. So about a half are female. So, more females are getting interested in the space program, which is very good. Because usually in Japan, during the application process, only 10% through 20% are female to apply to the astronauts program. So that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So once, they get interested in, they, take a step to apply for it, then the ratio will get improved. So just, I want to encourage women to pursue, interested in STEM and just take a courage to step in it.
Well, 2 years ago or so, there was the test or a kind of opening application for new astronauts in Japan, and 2 of them, a historical number of people applied, right? More than 4. Across, about 4,200 people applied,
Yes.
which is double the number or so since 14 years ago or so. And then 2 astronauts were selected. And can you talk a little bit about one of them is a woman, Ayu Yoneda.
Exactly. So one is women and one is men, and they are under training at NASA right now. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them participating in Artemis program and eventually to go to the moon, hopefully. And
Yes, that's something that the people are talking about, that they may be the first Japanese astronauts who ever walk on the moon.
Yes, and thanks to all the collaboration, U.S. and Japan have agreed to land 2 Japanese astronauts on the moon in the late 20s and early 30s, twice. So that's the agreement right now, and I hope we can expand those collaboration further and further in the future.
And also, JAXA has eased the qualifications or requirements for applicants, right? So in the past, you have to have science degree from college or from university, but then they kind of did away with that kind of requirements.
Yes, thank you for mentioning it. Yes, JAXA deleted a requirement of science major from the prerequisite of application. So now JAXA is welcome everybody to apply for an astronaut. Of course, during the selection program, we have an paper exams to test a scientific knowledge as well. But if you can learn by yourself, that's okay. You don't have to go to the science major. But if you can learn, by yourself, that's should be okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's good that many women can have aspiration to become one day an astronaut. Now, that's very important. Of course, you still have to be the best and the brightest, but scope of the areas that you have been active. The gentleman who was selected, Suwa-san, is from World Bank, right? And he is a specialist in disaster prevention or something of that sort. So and she's Yoneda-san is a medical doctor, surgeon. So it's great. The younger generation, right? And Akiko-san already mentioned about women having a great advantage over men, but you think that there's a changing trend, like there are more female pilots for airline companies and stuff. Do you see that kind of trend?
I think as an airline or pilot, we have more women. But as a private pilot, I don't see a lot of women somehow. But I see a lot of controllers, a lot of women controllers.
Oh.
Yes, I can hear a lot of voice when I fly.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, but not the private pilot.
There's still a way to go.
Yes, I think we should inspire more young women to become a pilot.
So my next question is, what do you think is the secret to your success? What is it that counted the most, that you excelled the most, or doesn't have to be your technique or whatever, but then what is the secret of success?
Well, probably make a decision. We have to make a lot of decisions in our lives. So when you have choices and you have which way to go, then take a path which is more exciting you, more encouraging you. So even though it's difficult, even though it is challenging, just to take a path which is more exciting to you. So that's
So having a passion, enthusiasm, and quite a good, strong will to make it happen. Akiko-san?
Yes, I agree with Naoko-san. And then I think once you find the things that you like to do in the future, you can just imagine yourself and you see the route, how you're going to do it. And you never give up. You just challenge. It doesn't matter how old you are, what kind of circumstances you are. You just try it. That's, I think, the success.
It's almost like law of attraction. Like if you believe in yourself,
Yes,
have
you
a strong
can do
will.
it. Because if somebody else can do it, I can do it.
That's great. That's a great message. But my last request for you is to give the message, not only to this wonderful audience, but we're video recording it. So I want you to, not just young, old women, but then everyone, if there's any message that you can depart. I want to start with Akiko-san.
Yes, like I said, follow your dream. It's never too late. And just, challenging yourself rest of your life. I think that's what I believe.
It never stops. You keep
Never
challenging
stop.
for your dream. Thank you. Naoko-san.
I brought some pictures taken from space. Well, this is a day view from the International Space Station. So during daytime, the power of nature is, visible. And at night, the power of civilization, it's so strong. like here in LA. You can recognize some parts. And this is a sunrise. The upper is the Earth and the lower is the universe. And reflecting the sunrise, you can see the layer of the atmosphere lit in a rainbow colors. It's so beautiful, and at the same time, it's so thin. I was surprised how thin the atmosphere is. So learning about space, makes us understand our home planet better. So we call it like an overview effect, but take a wider view probably makes us better understanding. So this is the sun and northern light. It's beautiful, and at the distance from a satellite, it's seen like this in a circle.
Naoko-san, those are the pictures you took?
Most of those
Oh, wow.
picture too,
Wonderful.
but not this one. This is from satellite, and this is taken from another astronaut, but it's a Milky Way. So we are a part of the universe. So I guess, like Akiko-san mentioned, just don't be afraid to have a dream. And because when we have a dream, we consider it's kind of ridiculous. It's a faraway dream, but it's gonna happen eventually. So consider about decades ago. We don't consider cell phones and smartphones and this technology and so on. So the things are changing rapidly, and we can, connect our dreams, generations, and so it's gonna be happening eventually.
Thank
so.
you. Beautiful message. Thank you so very much. And as I shared with the audience, you traveled here like just one night. Arrived here yesterday, going back to Japan tonight. So it's amazing that you could make it happen. So thank you very
So
much. And Akiko-san as well, she's kind of acquired so many different pilot licenses, starting from the private pilot license, but acquired 5, 6, 7 different licenses. And now you're in the middle of getting the final one, like airline transport license, which is the most difficult. And once you get it, you can fly a jumbo jet.
Correct.
Right? So you're just an inch away from getting it. So you've been very busy, and I really appreciate.
So I'll be in the flight training next whole month.
Oh, wow. So congratulations. But then more than anything else, we appreciate you making time for us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we give them a big round of applause, we jump into Q&A. We can take some questions from the audience, from the floor.
Hi. As a trainee myself, I'm interested in how much exercises or training required for typical astronauts or pilots to, so the frequency and the intensity of time you spend in the gym. So I would like to hear about the story from each of you.
In our astronaut training program, we do have a physical evaluation each year whereas a medical evaluation. So in that evaluation, we do push-ups, how many push-ups per minute, and how many pull-ups per minute, and so on. And some VO2 max is an endurance ability. So we have to do some aerobatic exercise as well. So we are not athletes, so we are not, required the top athlete level, but still the spaces are so heavy, and we have to work for hours in those kind of spacesuits. So endurance is important, and also some amount of muscles are required.
Well, for me, like, it doesn't matter if I'm a pilot or astronaut. I just work out every single day. So I just love mainly lifting weights for maybe an hour whenever I'm available. So mostly every single day.
Wow, that's great. It's a lot, and it requires a lot of willpower to do it every
But
day.
I started when I was maybe little over 30 years old.
Mm.
So I've been doing this for like many, many years. So it's just, for me, just having a breakfast or
I
something.
see. It's become part of your day, part
Correct.
of your daily schedule. Thank you.
今日はお招きいただきありがとうございます。2012年のイースターだったと思うんですけども、直子さんと千藤さんの対談をねさせていただいたときに、今ちょっと思い出したのは、その当時はスペース X は火星探検ということを優先しておりまして、今もそうでしょうけども、その時に千藤さんがね、いや火星よりも月だとおっしゃったのを今鮮明に覚えてるんですけども、それがね今回また月周遊旅行に実現されるというのはその時は夢に思わなかったんですけども、できれば今の千藤さんの心境ですね、どういうふうにマスクさんを説得したのか、あるいはどういうコミュニケーションがあったのか、なぜ月が優先されるような人事になったか、そのバックグラウンドのようなお話いただけたら
So the
嬉しい
question
で
is
す。
really addressed to you, Dennis-san. The gentleman organized a conference, the talk program back in 2012, inviting both Akiko-san and Naoko-san. But at that time, you mentioned the government, U.S. government, was aiming at exploring into Mars. But then you seem to have said at that time that no, it's the moon. Before Mars, and that's what he remembers. But what do you think currently about going into the moon or going into Mars? How did you convince Elon Musk to lead him to the way it's been arranged now?
Well, I don't think I convinced Elon. He's obviously looking at the market, and there is a market for individuals flying in space. So not too many people have taken that opportunity. I flew in 2001, 2001, so that's close to 25 years ago. And not many have flown. But I think if the price comes down, we'll see a lot more people fly. It's just very expensive and not available to many people.
I hope that the time will come sooner than later in my lifetime.
Well, it might take longer than that.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for being honest. Okay, the next question around there.
Hi, thank you so much for celebrating Women's Day with us. It's very inspirational. My question is for Naoko first. How did your perspective change after traveling to space as both maybe just a person, human being, and then now in the future we would just call Earthling, right? And then for Akiko, what are your expectations for your travel to space and your perspective?
Well, thank you for the question. Well, first of all, I was surprised to see, how human beings have an ability to adapt to a new environment. In microgravity, we can, adapt quickly. So that's, I felt a lot of potential about human beings. And also before going up to space, I felt space was very special to me, an admirable place, of course. But when I reached there and saw our planet, and then I realized, the Earth was very special in the vastness of the darkness of the universe. So that perspective I got after the space flight. Thank you.
Yeah, like Naoko-san said, that I'm always curious about after you went to the space, what do you think about our planet, the Earth? And a lot of people told me, that whoever went to space, this is a wonderful planet. We should appreciate what we have here. So I think, my mission would be, I want to feel it. Yeah, that's kind of like my desire
Really sure.
to feel this is a great planet. We are so lucky to live here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. I have a question to both of you. I come from a field where it is male dominant. I'm an athlete, and I was wondering if you have experienced any difference in resources as a woman, as a female, in what you do. Example of what it was and how you have overcome it.
She's, by the way, Olympian in Aikido.
Wow. I'm so proud of you. Yes, well, the training and the mission in space are equal to in between men and women. So, which means, sometimes training are demanding more physically for female, right? Because, for the physically difference, due to the physical differences. But, well, how to overcome it? It's because, like I mentioned, the spacesuit is big and it's so bulky and hard to move. But if we understand the techniques to to save the energy, then it can save our energy and then make it more move. So not difficult. So I think think ahead and usually 3 steps think ahead. Then consider what you're doing and then to learn the techniques. Then that will help you to accommodate. So yeah, and the passion, never give up spirit, that will help. So actually, I learned from you, how to overcome.
Thank you.
Like Naoko-san said, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or man. Like you should have a confidence for yourself. And sometimes, when I take a check ride for the, flight training, probably the examiner look at me like, oh, the woman. And they give me a little suspicious looking, right? So I have to fight it. Like I have to show them I can do it. So that's how you do it.
Thank you.
What is the best thing about being an astronaut, and why did you choose that career?
Oh,
So
thank you for the
cute.
question. Yeah, the best part is every moment in space, microgravity and watching the Earth from space. That is incredible, and the international collaboration is another incredible thing, aspects in this being astronauts. So why I aimed to become an astronaut is just I was inspired by lots of sci-fi, and I wanted to expand our frontier. So that was my motivation, and still it's my motivation. Thank you. And next, it's yours. So
Wow, that's a
Go
great
for it.
message. Well, thank you so very much. And thank you, everyone, for your great questions and attention. So thank you both for doing this for us. And thank you.